and happy day. What is this? Okay. A happy day, happy day. Thank you for coming in the room. Coming in the room. Come on. In the room. Happy day. About to get started on this one. Oops,
Okay,
one
Colossians
second.
4:6. Let your speech
Uh-oh.
away with grace, seasoned
Okay.
with salt, that ye
Let's
may
get
know.
all right. We're about to go live on here. Let me just get over here, just set up. Thank you for your patience. All right. All right. So let's get into it. I want to go ahead and oh, hold up, y'all. I gotta let this people know. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome in this room. Welcome in the room. Happy day, each and every one of you, as we're gonna get into how to 10 simple things to protect your financial house. The 10 simple things that you need to do to protect your financial house. 10 simple things, right? 10 simple things that you need to do to protect your financial house. So we're going to get right into this. I want you to have something that you can write with and take some notes with as well. And if you have any questions, by all means, definitely would love for you to answer, ask the question that you have. I am doing well. Thank you for asking. I am doing well. Thank you for asking. I am really just so blessed, I tell you. God is just so amazing. So amazing. So I want to go ahead and get right into the 10 simple things that you need to do to protect your financial house. 10 simple things. So get something to write with so you can take notes, right? As we're just going to go through a series. So I want to go ahead and list what those 10 simple things are. I want you to make sure that you can also connect with me. First of all, get on my email list. That is really important that you join my email list. You want to join my email list. So get into that, get into that. Uh, I just want to let them know in here. Um, 37. Okay, I think it was like 75. All right, so 10 simple tips, 10 simple things, 10 simple things. Accent is coming out. 10 simple things as it relates to building or protecting your financial house. And I like to say, take it up to the next level. Protecting your financial mansion. Okay, protecting your financial. 10 simple things that you need to do to make sure that your financial mansion, that your financial house is right and tight. That when the different seasons come, the wind, the rain, you're not going to fall. Right? And so I want to share with you those simple things. Okay, first let's get into it. Right, we know that in any house there has to be a foundation. Right, in any house there has to be a foundation. And so what is that foundation? That foundation is where your income is protected. Your income is protected, because do you know that your greatest asset is your income? Your greatest asset is not your home. Your greatest asset is not your car. Your greatest asset is your income. Now, the question you may ask is, how is it possible that my greatest asset is my income, right? Is your income, because your income is what pays for food, clothing, shelter, make sure whatever the necessities, whatever your wants, your income is what pays for those things. And so, heaven forbid, I want you to really think about, if something happens to your income, does your family or do you have the ability to sustain your life? Do you have the ability to take care of your family whether you are here or not? And you've heard, if you haven't heard my story of recent passing, which I can't believe now it's a year since my only brother passed unexpectedly, and then 7 weeks after that my father passed. And so to say that the devastation, the trauma of that, was painful without a shadow of a doubt. But if we also had to deal with the financial challenge of that, of having to bear two very important loved ones in my life in a matter of 7 weeks. And I can tell you this, that in that time period, we spent over 30,000, actually more than that, to bury them. Because the funeral is different from the burial, by the way. And even if we decided that we wanted to do a cremation, which we actually didn't, that wasn't even an option for us. I don't negate anybody that wants to do that, by all means. The thing about it is that it could have truly rocked our financial house, honestly, put it into some serious devastation. If, thank God, my brother was a client, my father was a part client of me. But I tell you, if I didn't have certain things in place, it truly would be devastating. And so, as much as GoFundMe, fish fries, all those things, buying, selling t-shirts, as noble and honorable as they are, right, when a loved one passes and you don't have life insurance, okay, you do not have life insurance, it is truly a total devastation. And I am determined that I do not want to see another person have to struggle with not having life insurance, or not having enough life insurance on top of that. Because this is the thing. Now, we can go back and forth if you should have term, if you should have whole, and all this. I want to say this. If you have nothing, term will be a good option, because you get the least amount of, you can pay the least amount of money and get the maximum of coverage. And the other thing too is that I know we hear about IULs and all these things, right? Whole life insurance. There's so many different names about that, but I just want to share with you, when it comes to IULs, that you need to be able right? And you can borrow from it, all of those things. I know we hear all this, but I want you to understand that you have to be able to fund it prior to. Do you understand what I'm saying? You need to fund that IUL because money does not start growing. Thank you, Fabulous. Money does not start growing in your IUL until or your whole life. That's just all different names. It's the same thing until 2 to 3 years. So you're paying this money thinking that you're paying towards an investment, but it's not being invested yet. So if you don't have a whole lot of money that you can put a couple of $1,000s to fund that IUL, my suggestion is that you do not do it. All right, unless you have that money. If you do, okay, go have at it, right? But I want to suggest to you that you can get more coverage in a term and pay less money. Now, I know we hear this, that, okay, well, the term runs out. What happens when the term runs out? So this is the thing when the term runs out. Simply this. You have the opt to continue the term for the same amount of face value that you have, or you can continue the term, okay, so it doesn't end. You can continue the term for less coverage because now you're older. There might be some other challenges that you have, right? And so the term does not run out. So there are some options to continue the term, okay? I want you to understand that there are some options to continue the term. It all depends on your finances, what you have, but you can continue the term. So you are not dead in the water. But this is the other thing that's really important when it comes to the term, is that you also have an investment side with it. What I do with my clients is that I include an investment with the term, right? So no matter what stage of life, right? Heaven forbid if they pass too soon, they're good. If their life continues to extend, because people are living longer, right? Because of modern medicine and all these things, that they're still good because of the investment. So have term, they have a lot more coverage than what they would have gotten for whole IULs and all these type of things, and have an investment side. So at least two, all right, that now they have the ability to make sure no matter what the different stages of life happens, they're not just good, but they can be truly great. This is what I've done. It has been truly an asset, and I've been able to access my different investments as it continues to grow. Right? And so with that being said, hello, Fabulous. With that being said, it just gives you an opportunity where now you have the ability to be able to access your investment, right, while it continues to growing and you're continuing to build on it. And you have this term policy, you have this life insurance policy that, heaven forbid, if something happens premature to you, to your loved one, or whatever the case may be, that your family is not dead in the water, that their life does not have to change drastically. Of course, there is that emotional loss of missing, but their financial loss on top of that truly does not have to happen. It does not have to happen. And I'm telling you from this, because listen, one thing about it, when life is lifing, because life has been life, and I've experienced foreclosure, bankruptcy, being sued, having to start all over again, losing millions of dollars, and then having a tragedy, right, in a matter of a couple of weeks. So to sit here and to say I'm not telling you something where I don't know, I haven't experienced, and I've experienced it, and still be able to press on, right, and have the ability to be resilient, right? That's why I love when if you just go to the website, get on the mailing list, Life Financial Resilient, right? It should be in the description of the YouTube and in the feed here as well. Life Financial, excuse me, lifefinancialresilient.com. Get on my email list. Get on that email list because I share a lot of great tips as it relates to making sure that your financial house is built right and tight in the different stages and what those things need to be. Okay, what those things need to be, because I can tell you, it is one thing when you experience that loss, right? And we see all these different postings of loved ones passing, and when I see those, my heart just really grieves. And when I see I don't remember. I was just reading something. And when I see that, and the family then has to do a GoFundMe or some type of sharing of the expense, of my heart does grieve. Because when you are of the sound mind and you now have the ability to make sound decisions, this is the time you want to make those decisions. Okay, this is the time, and I'm going to go ahead and put that link in the chat so you can go ahead and get the website and join in. Let me just do that right now. Those of you, right, when you have the ability, so I'm putting it in the chat, my TikTok, the link, I just put the link inside of that, Life Financial, Life Financial Resilient. I put it in the chat so you can go ahead and access that information as well. All right, so go ahead and get on my email list. And so this is the thing, that foundation is truly going to make sure that no matter what, that you're good, right? And as I talk about the different levels, right, I want you to I just want to share with you, right, because today is about the foundation of building your financial house, right, and type, which is life insurance, right? Income protection is another term. Now, some people have a question as far as what are the qualifications? Well, one of the qualifications, I'm going to share a couple of. First of all, it determines your age, right? Of course, the younger you are, the cheaper it is. It also determines on any health conditions. If you have pre-health conditions, if you're healthy, right? A lot of times too, what we do is that if we find that a person is on that level where they're healthy, as well, that they can apply for a coverage, right? And then if they do blood work and they see that, okay, you're really healthy, they will end up giving you more coverage for the same amount of money, or less coverage for the same amount of money. Okay, so it all depends. A lot of times what I've seen with my clients who are really at that, they're in great health, they will end up giving them more coverage for the same amount of money, and sometimes they'll even do it less. I've had that as well. So it all depends. My brother was one of my clients, and when he did his, he ended up getting more coverage for less money, right? Because he was in great health. He was really in great health. So that's why it's such a shock to us of how these people just, needless to say, that's a whole nother different subject, right? So other thing too that you have to consider is your driving record, right? Do you have a good driving record? If you have any DUIs, a lot of times what's going to happen is that they will give you coverage with the stipulations where you cannot get some of the living benefits until a year or so, when they have to do a reevaluation to see if you've improved your driving record. And so sometimes the quote that is given could be more because of that. So you have to be mindful that, yes, your driving record can affect your qualifying and how much you have to pay for your premium. Okay, of course you can always do your premium monthly, quarterly, or annually, as well. Another stipulation or requirement is if you've been incarcerated, right? If you've been incarcerated, they look at that as another ding, all right? And sometimes they might not cover you, all right? So I just want you to be mindful of those things. Now, the other question I've gotten is, can I have a policy on somebody else outside of my spouse and myself right? Maybe a child, or it's a grandchildren, and the answer to that is yes. You can be the policy owner and the payer, and the policy will cover that person. All right, so you can do that. There has to show that there is some interest, right? There is some type of a relationship. You just can't choose somebody off the street, say, I want to cover them, as something happens, and then I'm going to get the money. No, there needs to be some type of interest, right? Some relationship with that person before they will consider you being covered, that you can have a policy on them, right? And they need to know about it as well. Okay, so that's something that you also have to think about when it comes to the life insurance. And now, some of the basic information that they need, of course, your name, your social security number, and if you are getting a policy for somebody else, you still need your social security number and theirs as well, and their date of birth, right? And the relationship with that. So that's something you also have to consider when you are doing a policy on behalf of somebody else. All right. The I I think I lost. Yes, there is actually. Sorry, guys. We just have to answer these questions. Okay, and so with that being said, those are just some of the stipulations. So the other thing too, if there is a pre-existing condition, sometimes people say, oh, you're not going to qualify, and that is not necessarily so. Everybody is different. Okay, everybody is different when it comes to, if there's a pre-existing, it could be diabetes, it could be um, high blood pressure, right? It also depends on how much medication that you have to take, right? How much medication you have to take as well also depends on what type of medication that is taking, right? So you can still qualify even if you have diabetes or high blood pressure, right? If you're taking more than 3, usually it is it can get denied depending on what type of medication, right? But you do not know until you try. The other thing too is that there are options where you do not have to do blood work to qualify for life insurance, right? You can get your certain amounts, your premium. They'll just check your medical workers, because there is a database that is out there that insurance companies do have access to. So even if you say, well, I don't want to do any blood work, I don't want them to check it, they still have the ability to check it. Let me say that. Okay, they still definitely have the ability to. So don't think that you're hiding. You're actually not. They can still access. And even if you decide that you didn't want to do any blood work, what they can do is say, you know what, we want you to do some blood work. So they can do that option. Now, this is the other thing I want to share with you as it relates to that. So you can do no blood work or blood work. Now, if you decide to do blood work, right? If you decide to do blood work, a lot of times when you do blood work, the policy will be less with blood work. So if you do 150,000 without blood work, and 150,000 with blood work, then the 150,000 and the blood work that you do will be less. Okay, it will be less. So that's the benefit of doing blood work. But I would only suggest if you do blood work if you are in a healthy state, right? There is no medical issues whatsoever, because what can happen, your policy can go up. But if you're in good health, right? And listen, good health doesn't mean that you're perfect, but if you are in good health, then you now have the ability to get more coverage for less money. Okay, more coverage for the less for less money. And so once you've qualified for your insurance and what have you, I like to suggest that, so you don't have to qualify anymore, that you do what they call the accelerated rider. Basically what that means is that every single year they'll just increase your coverage. Of course, the amount is increased as well, but you don't have to requalify for it whatsoever. You don't have to go through any type of blood work or any of that whatsoever, right? You have that ability. Right, you have that ability. So you're, once again, you're not dead in the water whatsoever. Okay, you are not dead in the water when you have that. So that's just some things as it relates to the foundation of building your financial house, of having the income protection. Right, the income protection, as I shared with you, is what you have to protect, your greatest asset. Right, your greatest asset, which is your income. Right, not your car insurance. Right, not your house insurance. So if you have insurance on a piece of brick, right, that's a house. You have insurance on a piece of metal, that's a car, and you do not have asset protection, life insurance on your income, then my question to you is, what is important? Are you not important? Is your family not in important? Is your car, the house, more important than you? I hope the answer to that is no. I would think not. I would think not. I would definitely think not. So I just wanted to share with that. So tomorrow I'm going to talk about what it is, the next level, right? Which now we have the foundation, we're putting the walls up, we're putting the roof out, right? That's the next level, which is estate planning. Estate planning is the next thing as it relates to protecting your financial house, making sure your financial house is built right and tight. Because at the end of the day, right, I want you to hone in on this. It's not how much you make, it's how what you keep, and it's how much you do, and what you do with what you keep is really essential to making sure that the winds and the rain comes, right. We hear about that in about the God talks about in the Word of God, of building your house on a firm foundation, right? That also relates to your finances as well, because God wants us to be good stewards of our finances. God wants to make sure that every area of our life, spiritually, physically, emotionally, financially, is in order. God wants to make sure that we are balanced when it comes to our life. And so that's why it's important that we understand and realize it doesn't matter how much you make, right? It doesn't matter. What matters is what you do with what you make. There are people who can make $30,000 and live better than somebody that makes 250,000 or even a million, right? Once you understand the money game, once you understand what you do with your money when it comes into your hand, and how to make sure that you treat yourself properly, that, and we'll talk about that in the coming weeks, that you treat yourself properly, to making sure that you treat yourself like a bill, right? You're not spending to buy things that don't have no value, but you're utilizing your money, that your money can grow. It's working for you as you continue to build. That money should not run out with you. Money should not run out with you. Your legacy should not be stopped after you pass. It should not. There's no reason to. There's no reason to, right? But one thing about it, we have a thing that says little is much when God is in it. You know what I'm saying? Little is much when God is in it. So make sure you get on my email. If there are so many great things that are coming up that I'm really excited to share to help you to build your financial house right and tight, but you need to get on my email list, right? Life Financial Resilience. You need to get on my email list, Life Financial Resilience, so you can be the first to find out those things that's going to help you to make sure that you build your financial house right and tight. The different stages. I said the wind, the rain will come, right? But it's not going to destroy you, because now you understand how to be resilient. right? You will understand and some simple things that you can do in order to build that resilience so you are not destroyed, but you are dominating in every area of your life. So make sure you get on my email list, lifefinancialresilient.com. Lifefinancialresilient.com. Join my email list, right? Because there's some great things that are coming up. Lifefinancialresilient.com. I can't wait to share them with you so you can have access with them so quickly, right? You want to be the first to get to be in the know, because I'm telling you, if I did not have these things in place, I can tell you right now, this day, especially yesterday was Father Day, which was the first Father's Day without my father, right? Just a couple of weeks ago, June 1st was the first year since the passing of my brother, and heading into next month, right? The first month without my it'll be a year since my father's passing. And I'm like, oh my goodness, I would be a total hot mess if I did not have these things in place, spiritually, physically, emotionally, financially. And so I want that for you as well, right? That you can navigate the different ups and downs of life, and it's not going to destroy you. It's going to build you up, because one thing about it, you never get over a loss, but you do know how to navigate with God's wisdom, knowledge, and understanding to navigate the new normals in your life. All right, my fabulous peeps. So, with that being said, like I always say, remember to pray, plan, and believe, because God is still in the business of doing miracles. Let's do this. Let's connect. And I can't wait to see you all in our next session. Bye, fabulous.